Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Space 2, where today we're starting a new game as the Vaulters. It seems to be what people want to see. If you are familiar with Endless Legend, you are probably familiar with the Vaulters. Yes, they are the same Vaulters. I guess the canon ending of Endless Legend is that the Vaulters won a quest victory, managed to get that endless spaceship up into the stars, and then sailed around for centuries and centuries without ever being able to settle a new home planet. But today, we are going to fix that. So a lot of our traits here are going to be loosely based on the traits that the faction has in Endless Legend, and this is a great example of that. Our faction affinity trait is the Vaulter Teleportation. Every colony can build a portal that permits instantaneous travel to any other system that we've built a portal on. Obviously, this makes defense really easy. We can build an empire that is a much larger, weirder shape than ordinarily would be safe, and we will know that it is defensible because all of our ships can be anywhere. The portals aren't very expensive at first, but each one you build makes successive portals more expensive, so we aren't going to be able to, at least at the beginning of the game, build them everywhere, but we can build them, we can build enough of them to cover the pressure points and stuff. I believe also that your trade units will use the portals, so we can make trade routes over multiple constellations and much larger distances very easily. Our base population unit is the Vaulter. This is bad. This is a terrible population unit. They give +1 science and +25 damage done to attacker during ground battle. I believe this damage occurs before the actual exchange of attacks in the battle, much like preemptive bombardment damage. But you might be thinking, hey, that doesn't sound so bad. If you are playing a player versus AI game, it is so rare that the AI will actually attempt an invasion of one of your systems that this basically goes completely unused. So they're basically, realistically, they're a population unit that just gives 1 science, which is very weak. Sisters of Mercy citizens, we get to start with 1 Sister of Mercy population unit on our home system. We have not, so far, had to deal with multiple population units at all, because the Umbral Choir have a weird population thing going on. We'll talk about the implications of having a large, diverse population in our empire throughout the game, but know that we are going to have a bunch of different population types hanging around. Unfortunately, Sisters of Mercy are bad for the same reason that the Vaulters are bad. Yeah, what a bummer. There are a lot of things about our starting position that I am not wild about. However, one of the things about our starting position I do like is this involuntary nomads thing. So as the Vaulters, we cannot build colony ships. We start the game with 1 colony ship. When we settle with it, it'll go on cooldown on the system, and then a few turns later, it will become available to start flying around and looking for a new place to settle. It is our only colony ship. It will settle every one of the systems that we want to take over throughout the game. It's fast. It's very, very good at its job. When we settle a system with it, you can see we get this Golden Age bonus for a limited amount of time, a bunch of extra resources for the newly settled system, and a little approval boost for all of our other systems. And the length of this boost depends on the amount of time that it has been since we last settled. We'll talk about, the implications of that in the game a little bit clearer as well. We have material expertise, which means that we can use strategic resources in our system developments the same way that the other factions use luxuries. We can still use luxuries as well, and we probably will to some degree, but the strategic resources are actually pretty powerful when used this way, and a big advantage that they have is that they are generally readily available, right? Especially the first 2 tiers of strategics, the Hyperium and Titanium and, antimatter and stuff. It's much easier to find those than it is to find particular luxuries sometimes, as we saw last game, like with our difficulty, making sure we had enough Eden incense to keep our population booster running. So this is a powerful trait, and it kind of makes our lives easier at the same time. The Corsairs faction trait allows us to disguise our fleets as pirate fleets, and to have better diplomacy with the pirates. I have traditionally not been great at using this. I kind of forget that I have the ability to do it a lot. I'm going to be doing my best to pay more attention here, looking for opportunities to get value out of this. One of the, obviously, the most obvious use for this is that it allows us to harass other players early in the game without necessarily taking big diplomatic hits or making them angry at us, but it still makes me nervous to use it. Like, they're gonna figure it out somehow, right? We are terrible botanists. Minus 15% food on all systems is a really crummy trait. This is a serious penalty. Food is very important. Food is probably less important in this game than it is in almost any other 4X because of the fact that planets do have hard population caps, but it's still pretty important. Obviously, the sooner you hit those population caps, the better. All of our systems get 10 free approval as long as we are underneath the colonization threshold. This is just free approval in the early game, and then in the late game, by the time you're ready to go over the colonization threshold, you probably have access to a bunch of ways of gaining extra approval. So, basically, this is all upside. This is a really, really good trait. And we get to start with 2 techs, the same as everybody else. For us, those techs are rare earth foams, which is kind of whatever, and xenobiology, which is one of the best techs in the game. I am overjoyed to be starting the game with this. If we didn't start the game with it, we almost certainly would research it, like, probably first or second. Like, it's very, very good. So it takes a little bit of a weight off of us getting to start with it. Our starting government is a federation, which means 2 parties represented in the government at once, extra overcolonization threshold so we can take better advantage of core worlds, and a reduction in the luxury cost of system developments. I don't know if this also reduces the cost of using strategics for system developments via our trait. It probably won't matter, honestly. Like, again, one of the advantages of getting to use strategics for this is that they are readily available. We'll have access to a lot of them. And the scientists start in control of the government, no big surprise there. So I bumped us up to 10 players, a 10-player galaxy with 10 players. I do apologize that the game doesn't really have that many unique colors, so some of these are a little bit similar. Hopefully, people who have any amount of color blindness can still enjoy the game. I know this is kind of a bummer. I think with that, we are going to get going here. So I'm a little worried about the fact that we're playing a kind of a science-focused faction again. Hopefully, this game will not turn out to be too similar to the last one. I mean, there are some pretty big differences between the Vaulters and the Umbral Choir, not least of which is the fact that other players can actually see our systems, which means we're going to have to interact with the hacking system from the defensive end, as well as from the offensive end. That alone probably will make this a pretty different experience. I thought the cinematic... Okay, there we go.
Is this the end of our voyage? We had such hopes at the beginning, though we left in sorrow and desperation. But while they slept through the explosion, I have stayed awake for centuries, doing what I could to keep them alive. To save Zolia, first of the bloodline. But our power, my power, is fading. I can do nothing more for my people, the Vaulters.
Hey, lucky us, we managed to accidentally drift into this crazy rejuvenation field, just as the ship was dying. A relic of the Endless, doubtless constructed at the time of their civil wars, this dust-energized anomaly heals and repairs ships that pass through its sphere of effect. Isn't that fortunate? Ancient ruins indicate it was once known as the Lodestone of the Nine. So here we are with our super colonization ship. Let us discover our new homeworld. I gotta say, the system with 3 habitable planets on it is looking pretty strong. So we have 2 boreal worlds, 6136, not a lot of industry, for starting out a civilization, and a monsoon planet which is 6244. Well, I mean, there's a lot of resources around. I don't really love how industry poor this start is. I really, really don't love that. Well, our ship does have 11 movement. So, the way the Golden Age works is, if we were to settle right now, we'd get a 7-turn Golden Age. Each turn we put off our settle, the Golden Age increases in length, up to a max of 15 turns. So what I'm trying to say is, it might be worth flying, past Osulo. We'll just, look around over here for a couple of turns. It's not a big deal to not settle on the first turn because of the Golden Age thing. And if we have to come back here and settle, this is absolutely a fine place, but maybe we could find something better. So I'm just going to fly straight to here. You can notice the vision bubble around the ship is actually quite large. Hoping some more information will be revealed. Nope. Alright, I guess we're just going to pick a direction. Let's go this way. So yeah, we'll sail around for a bit. We don't need to make a decision right now. Alright, so we've discovered some luxury resources, flowers and potatoes. Who doesn't know about the flowers and potatoes? Our starting hero is Petrov Jutka. This is not a thing we need to worry about right now. Let's have an empire, and then we will worry about how best to take advantage of our empire. Note that the rejuvenation field is actually pretty handy as a node if we can get our influence circle around it. Alright, so over here at Sing, we have discovered a tiny monsoon planet with some cold stuff around it. I think my plan here is to, try to circle around. We have a couple more turns before we hit the cap on our Golden Age duration. But medium ocean world, 8248. I mean, that's a lot of food. And it's quite large. 8 population. Desert, savanna, and lava to work with in the same system. Honestly, I kind of like this. 4564, obviously lava worlds are great for industry. Not as much food on these planets as you might like for a home system, but on the whole, I like this system quite a bit, except for the fact that it has no exposed strategics. I might settle on Vorta. I know that there's a lot of population growth room here, but I mean, room for 8 population on this planet is not a bad start either. There's some kind of life form here, which is probably another luxury resource. My guess is potatoes. Luxuries tend to occur in clumps in the galaxy, but the other thing we could do is drop down here and wrap around to Osulo. It's going to be a couple more turns. I don't know how much more flying around we want to do. Yeah, we'll come back to Osulo, I think. These boreal worlds are kind of a rough start. There's a lot of population space between the two of them. We'd be putting down on the monsoon world anyway, if we were going to start over here. Yeah, let's start on Vorta. Vorta 4. This is not actually a better industry start than the other planets we had access to, but it is a better food start, and it still has really good science as well. So we get 12 turns of really ridiculously boosted initial incomes. And those are good. We're going to just build the most obvious thing here, food and industry. Turns out food and industry are both pretty good. Now that we've settled, we have a very similar starting situation to most other factions. We have our 1 scout ship. You can see here the Argosy is recharging. In 4 turns, we're going to have the ability to pop it out of the hangar and fly it around again, but we won't be able to settle right away, at least not for free. The turn that the Argosy comes up, if we wanted to settle, we will have to pay a significant amount of both dust and strategic resources. And then over time, that'll tick down until 10 turns later or something, it becomes free again. So we probably will not be settling super fast. Alright, let's slap our hero into the fleet here for the same reason we always do. This is just a very good way to get early XP. And we should have a quick look at her. So on fleet, she gives shield capacity. On system, she gives bonus industry per anomalies on colonized planets on the system. We have a lot of anomalies. We have some strange fossils on the savannah, and a dust nebula on the lava world, and potentially this could be an anomaly. I guess let's find out. Nope, it was potatoes, just like I said. Okay, so we're not going to get a lot of benefit out of this right away. The Vaulter faction skill area gives plus movement on fleet, which is pretty useful. A little bit of free strategic resource income. I do see that plus percentage science skill. That's hard to overlook. Extra vision range on fleets, extra hull plating absorption. That's pretty cool. Even more bonus damage done to attackers during ground battles on system. This probably just is not going to be meaningful. But we do have access to an awful lot of bonus science, and also, as an overseer, this extremely good skill. Hard to not want to make you a governor. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay. So the Feyring here has 6 movement, which means that the hero ship with 4 movement is slowing down the whole fleet. So let's jam another engine in there. And I guess now that you're not the speed bottleneck, we can put something else in this other support slot, maybe just more probes. I'm pretty comfortable with that. You don't really need your early dust for much aside from making early retrofits like this, since you can't use it to speed construction or anything yet. And then I guess it behooves us to figure out what is down here. Oh, before we do anything else, we should probably make sure we're running sensible laws. So we are 93% devoted right now. If we were to run the Cram Exam Act, as I often do at the beginning of the game, it actually would drop us down an approval tier into only happy, which would be a 15% loss in all our resources, probably not a great play. For the same reason, we don't want to run the Super Tax Act, and we don't actually gain a benefit from improving our approval level right now. So, probably just run the Dirty Hands Act. Makes our initial construction slightly cheaper, and with only 3 base population, the cost is negligible. Oh sure, we should probably research things. I guess that's fair. So I think we're going to grab Xenolinguistics for the Xeno-Industrial Infrastructure building. Our starting planet is both fertile and temperate, so we'll get a full 30 industry from that, which is a pretty significant increase. It's almost always the case that you want to go Xeno-Industrial Infrastructure first. It's a really, really good tech. Okay, well apparently these don't connect. I'm glad I didn't send our colony ship down here to try to connect back to Oslo. Well, we may as well fire off a probe or two while we're here. So we're pretty close to the center of this, like, spiraling, what's this called, a Manji-shaped galaxy? I think there's usually a lot of minor factions in the center. So let's fire off some probes out that way. We have so many probe modules between our base ship and the hero modules that we equipped that I think we can afford to fire everything off, and we'll probably be rolling in probes by the time we actually get to anything to search. Turns out that also is just nebular clouds. We left Auriga millennia ago, but to us it feels like yesterday. Slumbering in our pods aboard the Argosy, time was only marked by cold, fleeting dreams drawn out over centuries. Upon awakening, I could still remember a million details of the day of our departure. The biting winter wind, the smell of the ash fires along the route to the vessel, the bone-shaking rumble of the engines as we speared into the icy depths of space, and Auriga receded to nothing. Most of all, the guilt, black and heavy in the pit of my stomach, for the kin we left behind. I might have been overwhelmed by these memories had it not been for the crisis that greeted my waking. Our carefully restored craft, the life-saving Argosy, had suffered a grievous wound. Some cataclysmic explosion had knocked us off course, playing havoc with our systems. Opbot, brave, loyal Opbot, did everything it could to avert catastrophe and get us back on course. But even its heroic efforts weren't enough, for eventually the power failed and we were left to drift. It is nothing less than a miracle that we awoke, circling that endless ruin adrift in space. Our priority was settling a world and surviving. Even if this planet is not a home, it will at least be a refuge. And so, here we are, possibly safe, and yet immediately plunged into another crisis. For no sooner had we planted the Vaulter flag into this alien soil than we lost our talisman, the ancient machine who saved so many of us by guiding us through the long night. Opbot has disappeared. We scoured the local caverns and crevices, the cliffs and bogs, the treetops scanning the wilderness. But the truth is even stranger. As we skim, I hear news from the base, even the rushing wind and the radio crackle unable to disguise the words. One of the interstellar shuttles is missing, the voice says. Opbot must have left the system. So, if you played Endless Legend as the Vaulters, you probably know Opbot is a pretty important character in their plot. If you played Dungeon of the Endless, he's a playable character there, and I think, honestly, one of the better characters, in my opinion. So we must either deal with things in turn, just sort of push Opbot to the back of our minds and prepare to defend ourselves from whatever's going on this planet, or focus on growing in leaps and bounds in our scientific knowledge. Well, I mean, you know where I want to go with this, but there's something to be said for a large amount of titanium at the beginning of the game. If we run this way, it's going to produce some militarist political will, and I often have a hard time getting the militarists out of the Senate once they've shown up. Maybe that's okay, though. Maybe we want to play a more aggressive game this time. So this is build for defensive or ship improvement, star system improvements, or wonders in the Empire. The biggest downside to picking this would be that defensive star system improvements are pretty bad in player versus AI matches for the same reason that, like, the Vaulter population's no good. You just don't get invaded all that often. This is a thing we would absolutely be doing anyway, right? You always are building science buildings. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. My kin, so used to scientific supremacy, are more backward than the other species in this galaxy. We must grow in leaps and bounds in our scientific knowledge, or we will fade and wither to become inbred cripples in the galactic backwaters. Alright, so we'll get 100 red sang when we do this. Probably we will just sell that. It's really dangerous with most factions to commit a resource that you don't actually have production of into your system developments, and we're going to want to use strategics quite a bit as well. Alright, so we've got our technology here. We can now exploit titanium. Part of me wants to just immediately grab plasma metallurgy so that we can also mine Hyperium. And we're going to be settling Osulo next, probably, almost certainly. We'll put down on this world. So it would be nice if we had the ability to get both of those resources out by the time we do that. That's not going to be immediately, though. What else do we want to grab? Planetary landscaping is a little bit of extra food. We're mostly going to be living on hot and cold planets, it seems like. We have a temperate one now, but there are not a lot of other temperate ones around us. So sustainable farms might be really good. Off-world agribusiness is also really good, though. The approval building, obviously, is important for pushing you up thresholds, and the ability to communicate with minor factions is going to make it a lot easier for us to curry favor with them. But I wonder if it's actually necessary. Because we can use the hacking system to increase their approval of us, right? So maybe hacks plus searching curiosities on their systems for them will be enough? Oh, right. Remember, we have the Oracle of Science as our mandatory law, so we do get to skip research. We do get to skip research tiers. We could just jump straight up to this tier. Maybe grab botanical scanning, which is... This is a better building sometimes. If you have some luxury deposits, it's quite good. And we do have... Are both of the luxury deposits in Fortar on the planet we're on, right? Yeah. I kind of think we want that. It's a little more expensive by dint of being a higher tier, but I think this is a reasonable thing to go after. And then maybe we pick up some basic military ships right away. That would unlock the next tier. Yeah. Let's make that the plan for now. And now that we've unlocked this thing, let's put a rush on it. I think it's very important. It's a lot of extra industry. Alright, show us something cool. Okay, that's something. We've discovered the Harmony. Their trait is mind over body. 10% of food turned into science on systems. That's interesting. Like I said, in this game, unlike most 4Xs, there is a hard population cap. So, at some point, food isn't really doing anything for you. Like, there's a lot of 4X games in which this would be kind of a sketchy trait. Because, like, why would you want to stop getting food growth? But here, I could definitely see the value of this. Well, let's definitely make first contact. I guess we're probably not going to have such an easy time hacking them, because they're on a different constellation. Well, we can jump hack over there. In fact, we can do that this turn, right? Yeah, I don't have to do anything to gain access to hacking. I just... Oh, we do want to make sure that we don't get traced, right? This is probably fine. I don't think we were getting traced by the minor factions during the last game. Yeah, that's probably fine. Just take the most direct route here. Alright, the Argosy is back. We are not going to be able to settle for some time, but it is nice to have a ship that has 11 movement for the purpose of scouting. So what do you think? Where do we want to go? I think I want to go this way. Or maybe... Here, let's go back to the rejuvenation field and we'll figure it out from there. Maybe I do want to go up here. I want to be in a position where I can come back to Osilo fairly quickly, though. Alright, and you... Oh, wow. Well, I have 5 probes. Let's just search 5 of these now and 1 of them next turn. This is going to be some okay XP for our hero. Alright, so... We did start on a fertile world. Early food is good. I found that this planet has cyberflora. That's a pretty good anomaly. Also, plus 10 XP on ships. Good for the hero. Found some potatoes. And also some Eden incense. And also some potatoes. And titanium. Okay. There's an atmospheric curiosity remaining. I gotta say, I like our start so far. There's a lot to recommend this. Really, somebody got a legendary deed already. Oh, be the first to produce 100 dust in a single star system. Pretty easy for endless level AI, given all of the free resource points they get. Ah, yes, and this thing. So when we as a group, all of the players, have researched 22 military techs, the behemoths will become available to everyone. To be perfectly honest, I'm not really sure that I have the best grasp of how to use those either. Okay, we discovered another anomaly here. Ooh, endless microfactories. And at this point in the game, 50 extra science is actually meaningful. I'm going to check this way just in case. I want to make sure that we are making our second settle as good as it can be. So, right now, if we were to try to colonize, it would cost 785 dust and 10 of each strategic, in addition to setting up the cooldown and stuff. Every turn, that's going to come down by about 1/10 of the dust and 1 point of each resource. So, if we can find a titanium, or rather a Hyperium deposit somewhere with our scout ship, then we might be able to speed up our second settle by quite a bit. Well, we can hope. Wow, that is a long star lane. Oh, hi.
In the name of the heart and of harmony.
Well, this is not the worst thing that could have happened. These guys are usually willing to be friendly. We do not necessarily have to get into a gunfight with them. That said, I am willing to get into a gunfight with them. It's important that we not allow them to mistake our kindness for a weakness. I like having friends, but only to a point. Okay, well, this is a bust. I'm going to go ahead and go up one more node before turning around. Okay, over here, the system of Duel, which is quite hot. But honestly, those are some pretty big planets, man. There's a lot of population space here. Not a lot of good resources. We do have a signal anomaly, which we cannot search with the ship. Ooh, +2 population slots. This world was once the greatest shipyard of the concrete endless. So, I haven't talked that much about the lore. What is going on with all this concrete endless civil war stuff. Let's fire a probe off up here. And probably just... You know what? We'll just go down this way and we'll fire some probes off from whatever is at the end of this lane, because probably we'll be able to reveal some more of the center that way. But basically, the short version of this is the deal with the Endless is they were a very powerful race that controlled most of the galaxy, and then they got into a little squabble, a little internecine conflict that spiraled out of control into a massive civil war that led to basically the obliteration of their entire society. The squabbling was over whether they should continue to live in their normal biological bodies, or whether they should convert themselves all to pure data and live inside their computer networks, and somehow that became a heated enough discussion that now they're all dead. Well, almost all of them. Alright, so we're just going to build some more basic techs here. Get to have our public-private partnerships up pretty early, which is nice. I'm telling you, that's a really good tech to start with. So our hack still has a lot of turns. I mean, we may as well be running encrypt on our home system, right? I have all this extra bandwidth. There's no benefit to not doing it. And who knows? Maybe we will get hacked by the Unfallen and be glad that we did this. So, if we can't find a source of Hyperium, we're actually several turns away from being ready to settle again. I think I am going to push a little bit further here. The ship's fast. It'll be fine. Okay, yeah, see, this is good information. There's a lot of worlds up here. Not a lot of worlds that we could inhabit. This is a huge Mediterranean, 863. No science, though. And then a couple of lava worlds in the same system. Yeah, this is a very compelling system. I like that a lot. Over here, who could even live on these worlds? Whose idea was all this? Alright, well, these things converge. Let's see what they converge on. And we may as well just take the other point of that skill. Oh, you know what? Her assignment cooldown is probably pretty close to up, right? We moved around quite a bit before settling. It is actually available. Okay. So when we reach Gikra, we should probably reassign her to the colony. She can boost our population growth. And we've unlocked another law slot. So is there actually anything we want to put in it right now? We're no longer... Oh no, we actually... Oh yeah, that's right. We had a 12-turn Golden Age. So yeah, we'll be devoted off of that Golden Age for a little while longer. Can I get a Indicator of how long? Okay, 4 more turns. And that's pretty good. So, we're pretty devoted now, though. I think we can afford to do the Cram Exam Act. It's just going to lower our approval by 10 right now, and our approval was significantly above 100. So yeah, we're getting all the science and absolutely no penalty at all. And with that, we have to think about what is next. We could still pick up off-world agribusiness to communicate with the minor faction. Maybe worth doing, right? The other thing we should probably be doing is pursuing the ability to settle on another planet in our system. So, desert, savanna, and lava. Well, I believe the lava tech is all the way up here. Yeah, colonize lava. Savanna and desert are going to be more over here. Let's use the search thing here. Okay, so this is colonized savanna. Also, just a generally very good technology. And desert is all the way up at evaporation inhibitors. Well, it certainly seems that it behooves us to pursue a little bit more science. If we pick up advanced scanners first, we have access to more anomalies. Then eukaryotic sap for the fact that it just gives us free approval on planets without us having to build anything else. Then we'll grab PEV scale accelerators, because that's a thing we probably ought to have. The ability to specialize in exoscience stations and stuff. Once we've done that, I guess we don't actually need to unlock this tier, right? Because we can skip up to it via our incredible science skills. But I think I still want PEV scale accelerators before we research this because of the facilitating link. Is that what I want to do for our tech? I mean, that's a lot of commitment. It's also a lot of value, though. And we're going to pick up some basic hacking programs, including the accelerator, which is the only one that I have any idea how to use. We're going to keep working on the hacking system as well. We will get better at it. Oh, hey, pirates already. Am I allowed to talk to them without off-world agribusiness? Okay, make peace with the pirates. They won't attack you. You can't be targeted using a pirate mark, and you can use their systems as portals if you have this ability. Well, I kind of would like to do that. Screw cleaning up the pirates. Let's just make them everybody else's problem, right? So, we are going to have to save up quite a bit of influence, and obviously, the sooner the better. Ooh, hey, we found a population unit, I think. Ooh, Pulsos. That's a good point of population. Alright, and with that, I think it is time to pull the hero back. We may as well spend all of her probes. No sense in holding on to him, since she's going to be a governor probably for the rest of her life. Just pop back to the home system here. And we're going to fill up this planet in no time. I mean, we're already working on being able to settle the other planets, though. I guess it's not a big deal. And we have discovered Koyasel. Okay, so we know where these guys are coming from. We can see that there is a big vine running down this star lane, so we know we're not going to be able to settle over there. That is already locked up. That pirate base is on Osulo, though. Shoot. That does put a crimp in my plan. I guess get back down here and we'll figure it out after. Yeah, I really... As much as I want to make peace with them and let them be somebody else's problem, I really want this system. I like it a lot better as a second system than I did as a first one. Well, what am I going to do about it? I guess we're going to have to build warships. Alright, so they're going to spawn their first pirate ship immediately. Which means it's not super safe for my scout to go back down there, so I guess we'll go this way. Don't really have a lot of options. Yeah, that's a real bummer. Why couldn't you guys appear on, like, Sing or Electra? Discovered the Epistis. They have the machine trading trait, plus 5% star system trade value. That that's not great. So we haven't talked about the trading company system at all. We probably will use some in this game, so I guess we'll worry about it then. But basically, this does not seem like a very good trade to me. You know, I didn't really notice when I clicked. Did our ship decide that it was better to take this route to go to Columba instead of this direct route? That seems strange. Oh, there's a node in the middle there. Notice when we hover over this, it lights up just this section, not that section. That's interesting. Well, I mean, that explains why they took the route they took. I guess we can try to sneak the Argosy through to Tsing. Don't really love that. We've also met the Mavros. Pragmatic shipbuilders. Okay, minus 10% ship cost on systems. That's a pretty good assimilation bonus. Man, we're going to have to run hacks on all these guys if I don't want to get off-world agribusiness. The thing is, we're so busy. I have all this other stuff to research. Who has time for agribusiness? Speaking of, I'm not sure that we really need the ability to, or that we really need the extra food here. Because we're already 2 points off our population cap. Oh, well, I guess the first thing we do is colonize another planet. Then after that, we might benefit from the food a little bit more. Starting on an ocean world, though, allows you to fill your home system pretty quickly. So we should actually talk about the mechanics of food in regards to population types. Uh-oh. Pirates and minor civilizations now have access to hacking operations. They can defend their own systems from your hacking operations and may attempt to infiltrate yours. Well, that's annoying. Fortunately, we have our encryption up already. There's no curiosities here. We are going to throw a quick probe down this star lane, though. And then I think... I guess I don't have any movement left. I was going to say, I think just run this way. But turns out we're probably done. Okay. So we've identified a bunch of minor factions. It would be nice to make contact with them, but we don't really have the influence to do so, especially as long as we're running this law that costs influence. Yeah, alright, let's talk about population types for a second here. So, food works in a pretty standard 4x way, right? You pile up food. Once the food pile's big enough, another citizen gets born. If you have multiple types of population on a system, when a population is born, there is some arcane math going on behind the scenes. You can see here, chance to increment, that tells you what kind of population it will be, chosen from one of the types that is currently inhabiting the system, plus your home population type. I believe you always have a chance for any person born in your empire to be your base population type, which again for us is terrible. We might, because the Vaulters are not a great population type, we might benefit from intentionally encouraging the growth of minor factions that we can get into our empire. Let's take a quick look at what the collection bonuses for Vaulters are. If we get to 10 Vaulters, we get some extra scientist political will. We get to 20, we get 10% science on any system that has at least one Vaulter. And at 50, we get plus 0.1 science for each point of manpower on systems. So we're encouraged to be militaristic and scientific at the same time. I'll be honest with you, I don't think these are amazing traits. Obviously 10% science is always good. But yeah, maybe if we snag a type of minor faction population in our empire that is particularly cool, we might try to influence our population growth such that we end up with a majority of them. Because I really don't like our base population unit. I don't know if I've made that clear yet. So if we cut the Cram Exam Act now, we jump up to 88% approval, which unfortunately is not enough to get us up out of the top of the loyal bracket. That happens at 90. So I guess for now we'll leave the Cram Exam Act active. Alright, let's see what's out here. Oh, we have been traced. Your hacking op was discovered by a defensive program on Talitha. A trace backtracks your hacking op to the system that started it and can have serious consequences. These splash screens did not exist before, right? I know there was a patch recently. So yeah, we just got caught. We have 2 turns remaining on our hack. They're going to start tracing. 2 turns might be enough to get the job done. It depends on how aggressive this trace is. I don't know if there are actually different classes of trace, because it seems like the trace doesn't always actually start running out on the first turn. At least that's what it seemed like in our last game. I do have Accelerator. Plus 30% hacking speed is not enough to take even a turn off of hacking Talitha, I don't think, so it's probably not worth the bandwidth. Although, we also, we have nothing else to do with the bandwidth. It doesn't help us to just sit there unallocated. Alright, what do we want to do with you? We probably just want to, grab Sable. Now that we have the ability to colonize snow planets. So we have a strong magnetic field here. We also have a bunch of other resources. The cost for this is down to 3 and 3. So it'll only be a couple more turns before it'll be free. I guess we can keep sailing around until then, though. I gotta say, this is aside from us getting a little bit unlucky with the pirates spawning in the worst possible locations, this is pretty cool. Also, apparently there's a ton of curiosities that we have to explore here. Well, there's no more pirates showing up for a while. I think we can probably get in, get the scans off, and then get out. Alright, so we got a lot of our basic start stuff done here. There's no scout ship around, so I guess we will search the subterranean ruin using industry from the system. And yeah, now food seems reasonable. So this is a lot of extra food here. We have 3 luxury deposits that we are now inhabiting. Whenever you see a bonus like that worded in that way, it means, it doesn't just mean luxuries in the system, it means luxuries on planets that you are inhabiting on the system. Look at all of this. What is going on here? Well, I mean, I guess we're just going to slowly search all of it. You know what, I should be intentionally avoiding the atmospheric curiosities. That's my bad. Found ourselves a point of population, amoebas. Oh, that's just an awful lot of food. Also, a source of Jadonics, which I do like quite a bit. And coral reefs. Okay. On Merope 1, the Savannah world. 6554 is not bad. So, it's turn 17. We are going to get the Academy quest that asks us to search atmospheric curiosities any minute now. It should be quite soon. So I probably want to leave the atmospheric curiosities that are here available for us to search after that happens. It turns out I got one of the 2. So we'll leave this one at least. I don't really need to hold on to my probe though, so let's just keep running stuff out. We have discovered the Science from Scrap battle tactic. Use it if you think you will destroy ships and want to receive science after the battle. Well, who doesn't? And also, we have discovered a unique planet, planet Psychagogia. The unique planet Psychagogia, which is of a type that we can colonize, has 18 food on it. Not a ton of actual population space. We'd pop-cap this place really quickly, which is all the more reason for us to inhabit it. So I think this is going to be our second settle in 2 turns. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Okay, we probably cannot safely attack this pirate colony with the crew of our scout ship, the 40 manpower worth of crew. Guess we'll just have to let them live for now. Oh, we also discovered the Academy, I believe. Yep. That is Harrow of the Academy. So, with our minor faction friends here, we are going to improve our image, right? It could create a backdoor. I don't remember exactly how much approval this is, but it feels to me like that's got to be right. Reduce the minor faction civilization with its suzerain, if it had one. Lower the cost of our actions with them, or just steal a bunch of their stuff. No, sorry, this is a... Okay, so it makes the minor civilization grant you its rewards, even if you're only in a neutral relationship, and then also increases those rewards. Well, I think I would much rather try to get this system to join the Empire. So let us improve our relations with them, and then probably start another hack. I guess I should see how much that's effective by. Okay, so that adds 25 approval. I'm not sure if hacking them again... Well, I guess I was going to say I'm not sure if hacking them again would cause the two effects to stack together, or if the second hack would just refresh the duration of the first hack, but not actually a concern, because it's going to take us longer than 5 turns to hack the place again. Yeah, alright, I guess I'll just do that then. And we will install an accelerator. Piggyback lowers the bandwidth cost of hacking programs. I don't really, yeah. Who cares? This costs 15 itself, yeah. There's no way we're actually going to get a savings out of that. Alright, so if we hack them one more time like that, we should be able to get them to convert. Hopefully we can pick up a bunch of these minor factions really quickly. Alright, you need to hang out for one more turn. One more turn or two? I can't remember how many times I hit end turn there. Okay, yeah, we are ready to inhabit. One thing that's really nice about Psychagogia, and this is true of a lot of the unique planets, is that it actually has an awful lot of extra influence per population, unit of population. It is not easy to come by influence in the early game. You don't always need a ton of it, but with our population growing as fast as it is, we actually are going to need influence to maintain any of our interesting laws for any period of time. So the fact that Psychagogia is going to fill up with our population type extremely rapidly is definitely going to help with that. Alright, and here we are still preserving this atmospheric thing. Oh, apparently I've explored 20% of the galaxy because we had some nodes revealed, I assume. There we go. We have revealed all of the hidden isolated nodes near this constellation. Which is... Well, we revealed this, which apparently has somebody on it. I can't actually see who that is. We haven't formally met. Also, Yeasel, which is not terribly interesting in itself necessarily, but does tell us something about the shape and length of our constellation. Oh, Constellations. We didn't talk about this at all in the last game either, because we really didn't need to. But each set of star lanes, each contiguous group of star lanes, is a constellation. Each constellation has an ownership bonus, a control bonus, that is granted to the civilization who owns the most systems there, as long as they're above a certain threshold. So, like, once you get to your third system on a constellation, if nobody else has control of it, you get control of it. You can see here the Unfallen. Yeah, the Unfallen have Seas control. Actually, no, that's that color. The Unfallen have Seas control. We are a little bit too slow at settling to manage to get control right away of our peninsula. Peninsula? Constellation. I've been up for too long. And you can see the bonus for controlling it there is that all of your star systems in this constellation would get 15% bonus science. It is not inconsiderable. Those control bonuses are pretty powerful. Where is that atmospheric anomaly quest? Okay, this thing. Emissary from the Academy has arrived. So we can investigate curiosities for the probe microfactory, discover systems outside our constellation for the RAM scoop, which is actually quite useful, Or some other kind of thing. Need unique constellation. I wonder if like this one can only fire if you're on the same constellation as the Academy or something. Well, I think we want to go this way. The scavenged ram scoop served us well last game. So discover 4 systems outside your constellation. We can definitely do that. Life form, subterranean. Okay, I don't think it matters which one we do first. We have discovered a battle tactic. We discovered the life form was some guy who taught us a battle tactic. Use it if you think you will suffer heavy losses in order to level up survivors. That doesn't seem great to me. It does not say on it what the flotilla ranges are, but that the bonus effect there is unfortunate. Sometimes good flotilla ranges can really save a bad tactic, though. Alright, we have an election. I don't think it makes any sense to try to throw our official support behind anybody except the scientists, but do note that we have access to some other election actions with this government type. We can actually interfere with the results directly. So we can intimidate citizens to provide a strong penalty to the competitors of the party that we've chosen. Or we could do reinforced intimidation to provide a strong boost to the party that we select. Since we do not have the influence cost to do either of those things, let's just throw our official support behind the scientists, who easily win the election. Alright, so our government is scientist ecologist, which means we have access to the green fertility bill, which is actually pretty powerful. We did end up on one of the worlds here that does have an anomaly. How are we doing on Cram Exam Act? Cram Exam Act is now pulling us below this threshold. So it's probably worthwhile to abolish it, and then we can just barely afford to run the green fertility bill. That's probably worth doing. So now that we've run that, do we want to change up our positioning here? Because right now, citizens on Vorta 3 will be producing an extra 2 food due to the strange fossils. So do I think 6566 is better than 10248? No, I really don't, because I think our goal here is just to fill the system as quickly as possible. Get all of the resource income. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that maybe the quest that asks you to search atmospheric curiosities at the beginning of the game won't actually fire because we already know where the academy is. I'm not actually certain, but that seems plausible to me. Because the whole point of that quest is figuring out where the academy is, right? Alright, drone networks first. The planet is at least temperate. Definitely worth building infrastructure on, and then probably do some of this, just get all of our basics up. I don't think we need a lot of help with the food here. I think our citizens will be born almost in spite of us. Also, here come pirates. Well, alright, we want to make sure we search the last node before they drive us off. Okay, got some Hyperium now, so potentially a slightly faster settle from the Argosy on the next run around. And now that we have all of this basic science stuff, and also a lot of ability to see curiosities and everything, where are we going next? Probably the next place we should go is unlocking the system development. So we could come up with something to do with our dust, either using it to rush constructions or using it to play the market, which I'm a little bit more inclined to do. Especially since this tech is a facilitator for the impactless sites technology, which allows you to purchase heroes from the marketplace. We didn't have a lot of use for extra heroes when we were the Umbral Choir because we only had one system that needed governing, but with these guys, obviously, it would be nice to have at least one governor per system, probably also 1 or 2 above that so that we have military commanders. So that really drives me to want to pick up galactic commodities. Also, this building is fine. And then We probably ought to get the thing that lets us settle ash planets, and also facilitates the thing that lets us settle lava planets. Also gain access to the filter barges, which is a vaulter thing, a thing that other civilizations, or factions rather, don't have access to, and it just produces strategic resources out of thin air. Seems kind of strange to me. Also, at 1120 industry, kind of really expensive, maybe a little bit too expensive for us to actually build. Alright, so we're going to stay right here. We're going to stay in this view. And I'm going to click the hell out of this thing, and then we're going to try to run away. Probably he'll get to attack us, and we'll have to retreat. Not a big deal. Do get the search. Run! Run! Okay, actually I got away. So we've discovered aurora waves. Plus dust minus science, huh? That's an okay anomaly.
Welcome to the Sophonoty. There are some among us who doubt your intellectual chops. Please, prove them wrong.
Okay, so we've discovered a Sophon ship running around over here. Well, that could mean a lot of things. The Sophons are very science-focused. It's possible that they picked up free warp movement or even wormhole movement already, so this guy could be from another constellation. In fact, he almost has to be, right, for him to have appeared right here. Okay, what do we want to pick up next? Probably Optimal Operations Expert. I know, it's a little boring, but I take this skill on pretty much every governor. Food and industry are just the most important resources, you know? Nice to have extras, particularly in a well-developed system. Although I suppose the food is not quite as good, not quite as useful there as it could be. We probably don't need to accelerate food anymore. That's ridiculous, what am I saying? Accelerate food, and then get us another planet to put all these people on. We're going to cap out our home system, like, remarkably early this game. And with that, I think maybe we ought to call it for the moment. So, we haven't made any use of our privateering yet. We could get on a non-aggression pact with the pirates, and if we were thinking about doing that, it probably would behoove us to pick up some way of generating extra influence, or to cut down our laws for a little while. These are pretty good laws, though. That's tough to justify. I don't know, I'll think about it. It might be cool to have a non-aggression pact with the pirates, but it also might be cool to kill all these pirates and take control of Asulo. Yeah, like I said, I don't know, I'll think about it. But that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time to probably watch us get hacked over and over and over again by the AI. And we'll see you then.